So I have a question for you.
Yes.
A coworker asked me this question earlier this week, and I couldn't really answer it. So I'm wondering how you're going to go about it. Without Googling it or just looking anything up, what is the plot of Star Wars: The Phantom Menace?
The Phantom Menace?
Yeah.
Damn. Oh, you got me sick there all of a sudden. The plot of The Phantom Menace is to fan the Tom of the mean ass. I don't know, man.
Dude. Yeah, I don't...
Well, okay.
The
So the plot of The Phantom Menace is pretty simple. They send a couple Jedi ambassadors to work out a trade disagreement, right? Eventually they get ambushed, and so now that side of that trade argument is attacking Naboo, which is the other side of the trade argument. Eventually that unlawful invasion needs to be stopped by the Jedi. And then they go over to Tatooine? Why did they go over there again? Oh, because they were trying to head over to the main town, Coruscant. They were trying to head to Coruscant, but their flux capacitor got fucked up, so they went to Tatooine. And then once they got to Tatooine, it's like, oh shit, I can only buy my flux capacitor if this kid wins a race, because those Jabba, whatever the fuck they are, they don't believe in mind magic. So we did the race, and then once the race was over, they went back to their ship to go to Coruscant, but they got stopped by Darth Maul on the way. Thankfully, they got away. So they went to Coruscant, they traded, they negotiated, and Coruscant wanted to debate about it forever. And so instead of Coruscant debating about it forever and Padme letting her people die, Padme assembles a few people, including some of the Jedis that were at the beginning, and they all go back to... What's the name again? Naboo. They go back to Naboo. They save everybody, and the Phantom Menace tries to stop the Jedis, and he fails. So yeah, the Phantom Menace was supposed to have the bad side of the trade offer. I don't know who they're fucking named, but you know, the slug-looking people.
Was that all off the dome?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's actually kind of crazy. I would never have gotten that.
Yeah, I've seen the movie a lot when I was a kid. You know what I mean? But that's the thing, is I can't explain it concisely at all.
Yeah, it's not simple. It's not
convoluted,
a simple plot.
Yeah.
And also, I like how there was no mention of Jar Jar Binks in that description, and yet you still got pretty much the whole movie.
Yeah, because Jar Jar Binks has nothing to do with the entire film. So,
he's just kind of there.
He's just there. Like, remember the whole fight between his people and the robots? What happened? What was the goal?
Oh, yeah. What was the point of that?
No, they were supposed to do it because they were supposed to fend off the droid army. If the droid army was there and, like, went to the main headquarters where the Jedi and Padme were, then they would have collided and the droids would have won easily. But that's what that army was supposed to do, was supposed to block them off. Like, hey, no, distraction, you know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah.
So they
I'm not going to lie, I'm actually impressed. I asked, like, 2 other people this question and they couldn't get it.
Yeah, no, I've seen that movie a lot. Unlike the second one, I've seen the first one a lot. Yeah, actually, no, I remember seeing the first and second one so often because I didn't own the third one on DVD. So there you go.
Oh, it'd be like that. It'd be like that as a kid. We're really struggling. It's like we have the first movie and we want to watch the sequel, but we can't. So
we didn't have fucking Disney Plus where it's like $5 for the entire collection. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ.
And then, you remember Watto? The character?
The flying one, right?
Yeah.
Only money. Yeah, it's a stereotype.
When I was describing the movie, I referred to him as the Jewish mosquito, and they had no clue who I was talking about. I was like, he's the Jewish mosquito. You never seen him?
But that's who he is. That's literally who he is. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to talk about how Padme was going after a 14-year-old boy, but it's okay. You know, it's all right. Not even 14. He was like 9. Whatever.
Yeah. Wasn't she like 14?
I don't know. Yeah, whatever it was.
Something like that.
It was
she was a teenager.
It was sussy, dog. That's all I'm going to say. It was sussy. It's okay.
Yeah. I don't know why I was asked that question, but I really had to sit there and think about it. Like, what is the plot of the Phantom Menace?
Well, my verbal diarrhea I spewed was me thinking it out loud, basically.
Yeah.
So basically,
but you got through it though.
if I were to give it a quick 1, 2, 3 sentence kind of thing, it's that there's a disagreement between trade federations, and one of the trade federations decides to go to war, but the other one doesn't want to reciprocate that. They don't want a war. So they go over to Coruscant, the head council, to try to negotiate, but the head council's taking way fucking too long because of Emperor Palpatine, who was actually Darth Sidious, fucking with the negotiations. And if that wouldn't work, then the Phantom Menace, the Darth Maul, is supposed to physically safeguard that. This little war that he's starting is meant to be the beginning of the takeover of the Sith. So yeah, that's the plot.
Makes sense. It's a lot. It's a mouthful, but...
Yeah, it's a lot. But it's a lot quicker than before. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about that, like, scene for scene, because I've seen it so often. Yeah, I've seen it so much. It's just a core memory. There's always a bigger fish, that kind of shit.
The question caught you off guard at first, though.
Yeah! No, I did! No, I was trying to make a joke. I knew. I was trying to make a joke. The Fontoon mean ass. Yeah, that one. Whatever.
You're just like, all right, Naboo, I know that, Jedi.
Yeah.
And then you just started breaking it down.
All the memories started coming back, rushing, bro. Jesus Christ.
When's the last time you seen that movie?
Oh, years. At least, probably, damn. Since I've seen the movie fully. Half a decade, at least, maybe more. No, like 7 years. You and me have to watch the entire collection. Like, even 9.
Yeah. I'm done.
You and me gotta watch 11 Star Wars films. I think that's how many there are, right?
Yeah, because 2 spin-offs
right.
and 9 main movies, yeah.
So that's 11 Star Wars films. Fucking hell.
Yes, it is.
If y'all want that watch along, leave a like. Yeah, it's all good.
Facts.
That's it. Jesus Christ. I've made one
I'm
film.
going to be angry watching episodes 1 and 2.
Yeah, me too, to be honest.
I'm not going to be happy.
I'm going to have nostalgia for them, though. That's the thing. There's so many memes for those 2 movies, and you're going to have the childhood fucking nostalgia. I'll like it. I'll like it. I'll enjoy it. But judging those films on its own merits without childhood bias, garbage. Yeah. Garbage. I'm being honest. Jesus Christ. What was the plot of Phantom Menace again?
I still don't know.
How about Star Wars 2?
You just explained it.
How about Star Wars 2? That's a hard one.
Attack of the Clones.
That's a hard one. I think I could get it, but go ahead.
It's about Chancellor Palpatine wants to kill Padme because she's gonna block, I guess, some kind of bill or whatever that he wants to pass.
Right. She has a repeated history of getting in the way of things. Yes.
Yeah. So she's getting in the way of something that he wants to do. And then I only remember this part from Cosmonaut Variety Hours video. So he sends Count Dooku to do it, but Count Dooku doesn't want to do it. Yeah. So he hires Jango Fett, but Jango Fett doesn't want to do it himself. Yeah. So he hires his shapeshifter friend to go kill Padme. But the shapeshifter friend sends this robot, which sends bugs to go kill Padme.
Yeah. Who doesn't want to do it? Yeah, right. Yeah. Fuck it up.
And then the plan is foiled by Obi-Wan and Anakin. And then instead of just going to kill Padme, Jango Fett kills the shapeshifter when she gets caught by Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Right.
And then Anakin is sent by the Chancellor to go protect Padme. I guess be her guard, right? And then meanwhile, Obi-Wan is investigating...
Pause.
Whatever.
So Anakin is assigned to Padme's guard. Unfortunately, Padme doesn't want to stay in Coruscant. She wants to head over back to Naboo because there's some important stuff she has to do. But Anakin's like, well, there's no rule that I can't come with you, so he comes with her. I'm gonna say, and yes, Obi-Wan Kenobi is sent to find who's trying to kill Padme. So he follows the trail. Yeah. He follows the dart. Continue.
He goes to Camino. Yeah. Finds the clone factory. Meets Jango Fett, and then they have like a little fight. And then
that was a crazy level in Lego Star Wars. Remember that? That was fire.
And then I remember the whole Padme and Anakin, their cringy ass
sand
dialogue,
it's coarse and grain.
Yeah, and then I don't remember a lot of what happens after, but they go to Tatooine. Anakin and Padme, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when I guess we meet Anakin's. It's his aunt and uncle,
Yes.
and then
Well, I mean, I think it's meant to be
his-
like their like cousins, I guess, like in-laws.
yeah.
So it's
Something
in-laws,
like that.
yeah, because Shmi married someone else and they had a family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then his mom is like killed by the Sand People,
Mhm.
and he kills them. And I killed all of them, not just the men, but the women and
But the
children.
women too. I
I
slaughtered them. They were like animals, and I slaughtered them like animals. I hate them.
And then more fast forward, they're in some kind of coliseum. Padme was captured. Anakin goes to save her, and him and Obi-Wan are captured. And then there's just a whole lot of shit that goes down with Count Dooku.
Pause. No. So Obi-Wan was following the dart, and he followed Jango Fett until eventually he went to that stadium where he got captured, and then he had a conversation with that one guy. What's his name? Count Dooku.
Yeah, Count Dooku.
And then once he had that conversation, Anakin picked up the transmission that I think that Obi-Wan had sent to the Jedi Council, basically saying, I need help. Oh, shit. And so Anakin's like, damn, we gotta save him. But we can't jeopardize the mission. Fuck it. And then they both go, and then they go and help him, and then they try to help him out. They have like by the way, another badass level in Lego Star Wars. They go across like the assembly factory, C-3PO loses his head, like a whole fucking shenanigan thing. Mm-hmm. And then finally they both get
going
captured.
To a different body.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Right.
And then they have they're all trapped in the Coliseum, and then Count Dooku, I guess, unleashes some Pokemon onto them.
Mm-hmm. Padme rocks a crop top.
Escape. Yeah, she rocks a crop top.
The Jedi Council saves them, and the clones attack. Yep.
Yeah, Attack of the Clones. That's the name. Count Dooku escapes. They all follow him, and then they Obi-Wan and Anakin get their ass kicked. Get their asses beat by Count Dooku. Yoda comes in, kicks Count Dooku's ass. And yeah, that's all I remember. Anakin gets his arm cut off.
So basically nothing except the commencement of the clones and the introduction of a few characters. That's about it.
Yep. Could have been an episode of the Clone Wars.
This could have been an email, you know.
This could have been this could have been an email.
This could have been an email.
I remember Cosmonaut Variety Hour said something that I actually really agree with. Revenge of the Sith should have been the whole trilogy.
Shit.
Break that movie into 3 movies. Solid prequel trilogy.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, break it down with Anakin,
you don't really
right?
need Phantom Menace.
You don't need Phantom Menace. There's a lot of
Attack
things.
of the Clones, not much happens in it.
Mm-hmm. Right, which is very true. I understand that they're trying to show off like the Anakin younger years and like his development, but you don't need much of child him. You really don't. You know what I mean? Because it's not complicated. There's nothing interesting there. You know what I mean? Except the relationship with his mother, but that's it. You know. And so you can show,
exactly,
like that like storyline of him growing up to like, oh, and his mother gets killed, that kind of thing. That can all be achieved within an hour, you know. So I don't know. It's just hard to see it stretched across 3 films, you know. Until finally it goes up to head honcho mode, where like in 3, me personally, that Anakin, I like him a lot. I mean, I understand that the lines can be crazy.
Yeah, I like Anakin in that one a lot.
But that Anakin is such a fucking badass in that movie. I mean, he's just badass. He uses all his fucking moves. He's got crazy cool force powers. He harnesses the dark, como se dice, the dark side really well.
The dark side?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
And Revenge of the Sith is the best one of the prequels because shit actually happens in that movie.
Who would have thought? Fuck.
It's like, but I mean, it's true. And then his development is, all of his character arc just feels like it's in that last movie, in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Because again, not much happens in 1 and 2. So if I do a Star Wars rewatch, I start with 3, and then I go from there.
That's cool. But nah, not with me. You gotta watch them all, beginning to end.
Lame.
I agree. We gotta do it. We gotta do it.
I guess. All right, let's move on.
So, point I wanted to make here today. I recently, well, not just we. Yes, yeah, that guy over there, me and him, we watched Furiosa. Cool. I dragged him over. You know, I held a gun to his head while he was sitting down. He couldn't move. You know. Was that a comfortable experience for you, Squeedo?
The movie, yeah. The gun, not really.
I mean, it wasn't real.
Yeah, but I didn't know that until after.
Okay. I mean, it's
Yeah.
only like 22 caliber. That's barely around. Come on now.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. it's a little pellet,
Being
you
pressed
know?
up against your skull. Yeah.
It's a pellet, you know what I mean?
There's such a big difference.
Jesus Christ. No. With me and him, we went out to see Furiosa. I even got like a little commemorative cup, which was pretty cool. We went to AMC theaters, watched that bitch in Dolby. Ay, cabrón.
Yeah, we saw Nicole Kidman in Dolby. Let's fucking go.
Yeah! Because here, they are. AMC theaters. We make movies better. Oh, Jesus Christ. She's annoying.
I should have left right after that. That's the peak.
That's the peak. That's the best part.
Yeah. Nicole Kidman's always the best part.
I've been hearing a lot of negative discourse around this film, and as we all know, unfortunately, Furiosa has bombed at the box office. That part of the video is going to be on the back half. Right now, I just want to do an unbridled critique, whether it's a praise, whether it's a tearing apart of, whatever. We're going to do all of our theorizing, all of our critiques, all of our loving on this film before we even get to the controversy, because this film deserves that. So let's talk about the film on its own merits, barring everything else out of it. How do you feel about this film, Sweeto?
I think Furiosa is really good.
Yeah.
That simple as that. I mean, it's a solid movie from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different than what I was expecting it to be. I was kind of expecting just like a Fury Road 2, and I think a lot of people were. But I'm kind of glad that it wasn't. It's more of a, not even really a character study, but it's just a more character-centric movie. It's less about just what's happening in the now. It's a lot of lore and a lot of world building. And so I think Furiosa is just a pretty good movie. It's very well made, well shot, well directed. The acting is really fucking good. The music is great, even though we'll get to it in a bit. You did mention it's a lot of reused music. But other than that, yeah, no, Furiosa is a solid theater experience, and I think it's a movie made for sure to watch in a theater. So if you're interested at all, if you've seen the trailer and you think it looks interesting, if you've watched Fury Road and you loved it, I would definitely recommend watching Furiosa in theaters, because it's what it's made for. It's made for the big screen.
I really think that first of all, I agree with pretty much everything you said. Furiosa, for me, I did not think that it was going to be like Fury Road. I really thought it was going to be a slower, more character-driven kind of film, and I got what I expected. The main reason why I thought that is because, well, guys, let's be honest, we're never going to get another Fury Road. 100 years from now, it's just never going to happen. Fury Road is a fucking, what's the word? A beacon of shimmering light in the cinemasphere. I'm sorry, Fury Road is untouched. Okay, it may not be the best film ever made, but it's up there with one of the most unique films ever made. It's different in all the right ways. And Mad Max Fury Road is probably some of the best, if not the best, action sequences that I've ever seen in a film, bar none. It's ridiculous because you see like a John Wick with really cool action back to back and really cool set pieces, but you never seen a movie that moves like Fury Road moved. All these moving cars, all this stunt work. I mean, hell, Tom Cruise can eat his fucking heart out with the shit you've seen in this film, you know? And Tom Cruise is a bad motherfucker. Have you seen Top Gun Maverick? Have you seen the Mission Impossible movies? I say right now that Fury Road is top tier when it comes to stunt work, practical effects, anything. Fury Road is in the conversation when it comes to best action films of all time. And I love action movies. So that's what I think of when it comes to Fury Road. I think peak, can't be beaten, that kind of thing. So when I was thinking Furiosa, I was thinking it's going to be a good story with good characters, good writing, and some cool action sequences, but nothing that's really going to measure up to Fury Road. You know, I didn't think that it would be trying to reach those levels because those levels are practically impossible. And while I thought that, there were a couple moments where it was on the level of Fury Road. Now, it's not the entire film, but there were moments where it's like, damn, am I back in 2015? You know what I mean? This is wild. For example, when they first used Imperator Jack's vehicle and they got raided, you know, and como se dice, and all the war boys, right, and all the war boys are on the top and they're riding on the sides, and Imperator Jack looks behind him. He's like, damn, contact, and everyone gets excited because all the war boys are so excited to die for Morton Joe. You know, it's just... It's so great to witness again because it's been so long since we've seen some class like this, you know? And I gotta say, without a shadow of a doubt, that I don't think you're gonna see a better action film this year. Maybe one that might be better, but I don't. For me personally, right now, is there a better film this year, Squeedo? Remind me, because there's been a lot of good films so far.
I would say Dune Part 2 was a better film, but if you're looking specifically for action, no. I think Furiosa's probably the best action movie of the year so far.
I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a better film than Furiosa. Dune Part 2, that's fair. I haven't seen the Dune movies. But barring that, anything else you can think of?
I mean, personal preference of the Fall Guy, but
Fall Guy, right. I gotta see Fall Guy. I haven't seen Fall Guy.
That's just me.
Which is crazy, because that bombed too. Which is wild. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But como se dice, but for me, when it comes to Furiosa, I think it's top tier. It deserves its place in the Mad Max universe. It is not about Mad Max, and some people are pissed off about that because they thought the branding wasn't, was misleading, even though it isn't. We'll get to that.
It's really not.
Yeah, people are just idiots. It's fine. The characters here are great to look at, great to listen to. I mean, you got Dementis, who steals the show.
Bro,
Chris Hemsworth,
he's so good.
I thought he wasn't that good. Like, I saw Bad Times at the El Royale, and I'm like, yeah, he's okay, but I feel like the dialogue didn't fit him. You know, I felt like Chris Hemsworth just wasn't given that perfect role yet. Dementis is his opus. Right now, Dementis is his opus. Fuck out of here with Thor.
Yeah. And it really feels like, you know, in Bad Times at the El Royale, I do agree that like it didn't really fit him, but Dementis feels like a role that's just made for him.
Yes,
like every line of dialogue, all his little mannerisms, it's just like he was made for this movie.
Do you have it in you to make it epic, Furiosa? God damn it!
Yeah.
I love it.
And I think all the little nuances and everything of Dementis, it just really shows how good of an actor Chris Hemsworth is.
Yes,
because we all know him for like Thor, and he's really good as Thor. But when you get to a certain point where he's had 4 solo movies and he's done all the Avengers, it gets to a point where you're just kind of like, all right, can he do anything that's not Thor?
Right.
And then now you watch Furiosa and you're like, all right, this is like the opposite of Thor. It's very different than Thor.
Very much so. I mean, and here's the thing, right? Dementis is not a good human being in any stretch of the line. He is a piece of shit. But one of the best things about Dementis, I'd say, is his kind of arc throughout the film. Even though it's not really relayed to you too well, mainly because this story is about Furiosa. That's fair. Is that Dementis cannot rule over a kingdom that is not constantly involved with war. Just like how he says at the end of the movie, how he's dead inside, is that he's chasing sensation, something to keep him alive. He can't lead a group of killers. He can't lead a civilization. He leads a group of killers. He needs to be in constant mad dog war. That's how he lives. He needs to feel those sensations. So that's why he was never really any good at leading. Gastown? He was never good at leading Gastown. Because he's not, it's not known for him to be leading an entire city that's not constantly involved in war. He's involved with peace, and it doesn't make sense to him. And he slowly unfurls throughout the film until eventually he instigates for war against the Morton Joe, because that's what he is. And I think that's something that they don't show too much of, and that's fine because you can extract that from him pretty easily.
Yeah.
So. I really think...
Yeah, I like that.
Go ahead.
A lot of the politics in the movie kind of feel like it's just in the background. Like, when I say politics, I mean the conflict between, like, Dementis and Morton Joe. Like, we see a good chunk of it, but there's also a lot of it that is just, like, it's just happening in the background. Like it would be like maybe a throwaway line where Scrotus says something that's just like, "Oh, he's driving Gastown into the dirt," you know?
Right.
Just like little lines like that, and I really like that
Where if
because
you're
it adds
paying
to
attention,
the world.
if you're fully immersed, you hear those lines and you start thinking about it immediately. He's like, oh, okay, he's doing this. Okay, so that's how Gastown's doing. Okay, what's Bullet Town doing right now? And then you hear a throwaway line, or you see the leader of Bullet Town. It's like, okay, they're doing good. Like if you're if you're immersed in the world, those little lines are like pieces of gold in the sand. You know what I mean? It's great.
Yeah.
So
You just jump at any little world building you can get.
Right.
Any piece of lore, you're like, what's happening?
What's happening? Right. And the thing is, like, you know that like these towns are going to be okay because you've seen Fury Road. But it's still really cool to see the world kind of unfurl a little bit by little bit. Like, for example, we understood that the War Boys were crazy to die for Immortan Joe, and we saw multiple examples of that where they would sacrifice themselves when they were near death. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to go anyway. We never saw a moment where it's like, I'm perfectly healthy. Immortan Joe has ordered me to die to set an example. Fuck it. And then he goes and does it. Like, if just because Immortan Joe said so. You know, you are awaited. That little scene shows how crazed Immortan Joe's followers are compared to Dementis' followers, where it's all just really about mutual gain. You know. Yeah, I understand that
we hadn't really seen the War Boys outside of war.
Exactly. Dementis' followers think of Dementis as a good leader. Immortan Joe's followers see him as a god, and that's the difference.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, Immortan Joe's outfit really shows all about it. I mean, he has the plastic shell, he has the trophies on his shoulder, he has the big skull respirator. All that's meant to show him as larger than life. You know what I mean? He's the god amongst men. And so, once again, I know those details were in Fury Road, but it's still really cool to see here and in more vivid detail. We got to meet Scrotus, which is fucking awesome. I love Scrotus in this movie. He was funny. You know?
Played by the hater from Fury Road,
which is amazing. Oh man, bro, that guy who was constantly being hated throughout the entire film. Like when that one guy who sacrificed himself, witness me, he blows himself up. Everyone's cheering, witness, and then that one guy's in the background, mediocre, more soft, mediocre. It's like, dude, he just died. What's wrong with you? Oh man. Just, you know, so I'm glad to see Scrotus be coming back. Apparently, he was the main antagonist of the video game. That's true.
Yeah, Scabrous Scrotus.
That's
was
wild.
His name.
Indeed.
Mad Max put a chainsaw on his head, and dude fucking lived.
Because he's just that dude, you know?
He's just a beast. He took a chainsaw to the skull, and the chainsaw is still there too. When he lived, they didn't take it out. It's
Jesus
just there,
Christ.
like implemented into his fucking skull. They just haven't taken it out.
Hey,
that was
man.
crazy. It's just crazy.
We like that. We like that shit. I noticed they had Rictus in here too, and they made Rictus horrible in this movie. Like first of all, I like seeing Rictus. He's a big dumb idiot, right? Except when Anya Taylor-Joy's character, Furiosa, when Furiosa gets like captured by Immortan Joe, he's not even captured. He's traded by Dementis.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, right? It's like, this is Little
Her
D.
and the organic mechanic.
Yeah. No, let me preface the conversation. So Dementis just rolled up to Immortan Joe's gates and said, fuck you, give me everything. And then Immortan Joe's like, no, fuck you. And then he throws a war boy at him and they start throwing explosive spears. Eventually, Dementis is like, shit, I gotta have a chip to bargain. So he goes over to Gastown, invades Gastown, ransacks it. Now he runs it. And so now he comes back to Immortan Joe with a chip to trade. Basically, it's like, hey, you give me this and that.
Joe's brother.
We're not gonna blow up Gastown. And he holds his brother. That kind of thing. After the whole negotiation side of things is like, listen, all right, I'll up your rations. Immortan Joe's like, okay, I'll up your rations. I'll do trade with you, but you need to give me the girl, Little D, which he told Immortan Joe that it's his daughter, but really it's just some poor daughter of the mother that he killed. And I need the organic mechanic. Which I love the organic mechanic, by the way. I remember him in Fury Road. He's funny. You know?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, geez. So, anyway, all this to say, great side characters, great moments in between big action set pieces. I don't feel like, even though this was a 2.5 hour film, I'm thinking about it, and I can't find any fluff. Like, anything that was shown, the only thing that I wish is that there was more shown of it. That's it.
Yeah.
I can't really think of any fluff in the film. It's like, oh, that was unnecessary. Oh, I didn't need to see that. I don't...
Yeah.
Throughout the whole film, all I'm thinking is, show me more. I want to see more. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the biggest moments for me, the parts that I wanted to see more of, was the 40-Day War. You know, and I understand that it's not about the war, it's about Furiosa's story. But, I mean, they hyped it up. Like, they were hyping it up. It's like, Dementis, he's coming back. It's going to be a big war. It's going to be a big battle. And then they just kind of skip over it. Like,
they did kind of linger a lot on the whole feud between Immortan Joe and Dementis.
Right.
And so,
just for it to be snapped away.
Yeah, as soon as, like, it gets ramped up and you're like, okay, shit's going to go down. And then the narrator comes in out of fucking nowhere. There was a 40-day war. And then all of a sudden we're at the fucking end of it. And it's like, all right.
Now,
Dementis got his ass kicked.
Right. And now, I'm not saying that you need to showcase a 40-day war. This is already a 2.5-hour film.
Yeah.
I'm saying that you don't need to make it a 40-day war. You can have it be one battle. You know, just one massive
honestly,
battle.
The way they lay it out, too, feels that way. Because the first thing you see before they just say there's a 40-day war, so Dementis' troops are all heading towards the Citadel, and then Immortan Joe's war party is also heading, I believe, they were going to converge at the Bullet Farm, I guess, because that's where Dementis was coming from.
So
and then
go ahead.
It's just skipped.
Right.
So it's like we basically see the two parties charging at each other, and then it's just, that's it.
Well, what it was that what it was that, okay, so Gastown, oh my god, he just blew it up. Guys, we have to go attack. We have to go now. And then Furiosa's like, no, it's a trap. Don't send your war party over there. And Immortan Joe's like, okay, leave the majority of the people here. Me and a few other people are going to go over there and act like we're heading to Gastown. So once they start heading over to Gastown, Dementis sees it. He starts coming over to Immortan Joe's. And then once people see that Dementis was faking us out, they call him back. And then like, oh shit, big war's going to start. Dementis versus Immortan Joe. And then they fade transition. You know? Yeah. And while I love the visuals that they showed, and I love the narrator's voice, like here's the thing. The skip is quality. Like, it's not like half-assed. It's quality. The shots
that
they
shit
showed.
Looked like Renaissance. It looked like Renaissance painting.
Yes, and the way they were building it up is like first there was the World War, and then there was the South versus the North, and like all this, right? And then there was the 40-day war. Like when I was hearing this, I'm like, oh, they're ramping it up. They're amping it. Oh my god, it's gonna be so fucking good. And then they do their transition, and I like the transition. But I wish it could have been more. It's not bad what they did at all. But I wish there was more. I wish they showed a big battle between Dementis and Immortan Joe, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest kind of critique I have is that it could have been so much more and they just didn't show it, you know? Como se dice? One thing I also wanted to see more was Imperator Jack. You know, I did like him. I did like Go ahead.
Him, I really wanted more of.
Right.
His whole dynamic with Furiosa. That part I really wanted more of, just in general.
I feel like their relationship, it felt rushed, except when you really think about it, he showed the essentials. He showed what he needed to show. George Miller showed what he needed to show. But I feel like there should have been more. You know what I mean? Like, is he a love interest? Are they just best friends? Are they blood brothers? Like, what are we going for? You know what I mean? And I feel like his death was, while it was really cool visually, they didn't linger on it enough. It was
just in the background.
I didn't care too much about Imperator Jack's death, which isn't good. Because Imperator Jack is meant to be somebody that Furiosa's torn up about. Dementis did it again. He scorned me. He broke my heart. Except Imperator Jack, to us, is just some dude we met 10 minutes ago. You know?
Yeah. It's like that, not even really a meme, but that post I sent you earlier of just Imperator Jack being like, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about the Road War. 30 seconds later, man, you're done. I taught you everything everything you need to know about the Road War.
That's what it is. It's literally a fade transition. That's her entire Road Warrior stint. That's all it is. And once again, I'm not mad at the story for what it's shown. It's good what it has shown, but there needs to be more of it. You know? That's the thing, man, is that I feel like some of this stuff was rushed because what's here is great. But it's like we're missing a few pieces, you know? Now, keep in mind, this is me critiquing it heavily. I still extremely love the film, and I consider it as a good film that earns its place amongst the Mad Max saga, and I know you do too, right, Squiddo? Right. Yeah. It's just that we're critiquing it, you know? I told you guys from the beginning when we were talking about the trailer, is that I love this film, I know I'm going to love this film, I know this is going to be a badass movie, but I'm going to look at it with a critical eye. And these are the gripes that I have with it. It is what it is.
And even then, at least from my perspective, these are things that, you know, they could be really important. The way they're pulled off is still really good within the context of the story that the movie's trying to tell. It's just we want to see more of it personally, and it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like saying, oh, this video game's really good. I just want more of it. Right. And that's kind of what it is with Furiosa. Exactly. This movie's really good. I just want more of it.
I just wanted more. I wanted to see more. I felt like it was balancing a lot of things, and it kind of threw some things to the wayside to tell a stronger story or a better story in George Miller's eyes, except that I think more story about Immortan Joe or the war between Dementis and Immortan Joe would have still been peak cinema. You know what I mean? So I would have wanted to see more of that, but you know, I'm not even saying unfortunately. It's just George Miller decided to go this way, and I wish we did the other stuff as well. And unfortunately, George Miller apparently has a third story that he hasn't presented yet. But he says it all depends on how Furiosa is going to do. And, well... yeah.
It's Mad Max The Wasteland is apparently the name of the next story he wants to do.
Really?
Yeah. So we have a name for it, and it's apparently focused on Max. As opposed to Fury Road, where it was Furiosa and Max. Apparently this one's just going to be Max. From what I've also heard, I've heard that this one might also be a prequel to Fury Road, which would be interesting. I don't know too much about it. But, damn, I hope he does it.
Yeah, I hope he does, too.
I want to see it.
I hope WB figures that out, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, George Miller owns the rights fully for the Mad Max franchise. Right. It's just a matter of what studio is going to be willing to give him the money to make the movie.
Yeah, because he was storyboarding Fury Road for, what, a year? He was doing it. He was doing it by a script. He was doing it with one other person, just storyboarding it, putting it together himself with one other person because apparently the people he was working with ran out of money, something like that. This is the equivalent. Fury Road is the equivalent of George Miller pulling his fucking bootstraps and digging out of the massive hole that he was in. That's all that was. It was 10 years of fucking perseverance and hell and production. Exactly. Yeah. And eventually he made it. And he made one of the best pieces of cinema and the best action cinema I've ever seen in a film. Ever. All right, so, but see, that's the thing.
And it was in post-production for 2 years.
Which is wild. Yeah.
Yeah. I was watching a whole video on the whole behind-the-scenes production of Fury Road. It is just... how that movie exists and is as good as it is a miracle.
Yeah.
Because the actors didn't even have a script on set. The entire thing was run by the storyboard. They didn't have a script. George Miller just told them like what to say on the day, and half the time the actors didn't even know what the fuck they were doing. So it was a very frustrating experience for Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron. But in that same video I was watching, I believe it was at like a panel or something after the movie had already come out, and Tom Hardy was saying, you know, I have to apologize for George Miller because there were days on set where, you know, I would argue and, you know, we would yell because it was just a very frustrating experience for me. But then when you see the movie and see what George Miller wanted to do, there's no possible way he could have explained it on set on the day. So he straight up apologized. He's like, I'm sorry for, you know, being the way I was on set.
That crazy ass mind of yours, right? Yeah. It's just you have to follow it. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? And so the one thing I wanted to mention as well is that George Miller, he kind of tries to restrain emotion as much as possible in his scripts. I started to notice that, is that he doesn't really linger too much on the emotional bit. He'll show some vivid imagery and then he'll move on, like with Furiosa's mother, you know? There's one moment that Charlize Theron had to fight him for in Fury Road, and that was the moment where she found out the green place is no longer viable, and she walks into the sand and screams. Just screams out of pure emotion. And that's a moment that she had to fight for. George Miller didn't want to do it. You know?
Yeah, I believe wasn't it going to be the same, but she just didn't scream?
Right, she just gave up. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But that scream showed all of the rage that she had boggled up for so long. And that scream hits so much more harder now that you know that she'll never get them back. Right?
Yeah.
So
I got chills, honestly, just thinking about like Furiosa and then going all the way to that moment in Fury. Oh, my
goosebumps!
Yeah, dude, it's just she fought through hell and back to get to the green place.
And nothing. Yeah. Turns out her home was the friends she made along the way.
Turns out the green place was the friends we made along the way. Stupid ass.
But yeah, man, Furiosa was a damn fine story. It makes Fury Road so much more stronger of an entry, but Furiosa still holds her own. I have to say that if you're a fan of action movies, if you're a fan of character dramas, if you're a fan of great cinematography, if you're a fan of film, and you're not just some casual that thinks, there's not enough action in this movie, watch Furiosa, okay?
Yeah.
It's a damn fine film. You will not ever regret watching this film, and that's the truth.
And it's crazy because Furiosa only really has 2 big major action sequences, and it's still like...
Oh, peak!
Like some of the best action like I've seen in so long.
What is here is peak, brother. The Bobby Knocker, I think that's what it's called now.
The mommy knocker.
Yeah, that one. Fucking hell, that sequence. Remember that meme that you showed me? I was like, dude. When I was watching Furiosa and they pulled out the parachutes and it's a gamer sitting straight, you know?
yeah. Oh yeah, he just leans forward in the chair. He's like, hold up.
Yeah, wait a minute. Wait. No, because that's the thing. That's exactly what happened with me. They pulled out the parachutes and I look at Dorian, dude.
Yeah, I heard you. At first, when the dude got off the motorcycle and he started like skating on the sand, I heard you go like, "Wait a minute," and then bro pulled the parachute. And you're like, "Wait a minute, wait.
Oh man! And then the other guy pulled in his fucking parachute too, and he had an AK-47. He was going off. Oh my god! No, didn't he have a minigun and then he switched to his AK? Something like
that.
Whatever it was mad, bro. Oh my god.
Yeah. That whole war rig sequence is some of the best action in so long.
Which, you know, to be honest, I kind of wish George Miller was more liberal with the music. You know, like there were a few sections where I'm like, you should put more music, hype this section up more, you know? And I do like that he restrains himself in a lot of instances. I do like that. But there were some points where I'm like, you gotta go full Fury Road here. What are you doing? More music, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that war rig sequence is definitely one of them where he should have gone all out. I like the bullet farm sequence without music.
Yes, because there's stakes. There's a lot more stakes.
Yeah, a lot more stakes, and it's a very tense moment. So it's just like, okay, like no music makes that shit feel more dangerous. When when you hear nothing but the gunshots, it's
But there are some moments where I think there should have been more music. For example, when Imperator Jack's about to fall off a cliffside and Furiosa throws a grappling hook at him for him to grab, they only used one musical flourish, the whatever it was. They should have done another one and lingered on that moment. It's like, is he gonna die right here? Because we don't know Imperator Jack. We don't know him. We don't know if he dies or lives or whatever, even though he probably will die, right? So it's like, does he die here or whatever? Milk that, you know? The thing is that George Miller knows how to use music very effectively. In Fury Road, there's this one musical flourish that I've talked to you about this multiple times. It's probably my favorite part of the film, is when near the end of the movie, Furiosa and the crew, they're all coming back. They're all coming back to Immortan Joe's place, right? And so the war party's chasing them. And eventually, one of the war party members eventually gets up to the cab and he pulls out a knife and stabs Furiosa right in the side. When he stabs Furiosa, the music that plays during that scene and the shots that complement it tells you, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Like, you think, like, these characters, they get stabbed, they get hurt, it's alright, they're gonna live. That stab made you think, oh, shit, they're gonna die. Like, it was so the spectacle of it all, those shots that
Mm-hmm.
complemented it, the music, just thinking about it gives me goosebumps. Okay? So when I
Yeah.
see shit like that, it's like, dude, you know how to use the music. You know how to hype up these scenes even more. So when I see some scenes that you should have used more music in, I feel like they're a lost opportunity. Even though I know they're an intentional choice, from my personal subjective view, I think you should have used music a bit more. You know, it's really it's really subdued here. You know, so I think he should have used it a bit more. But there are sequences, like you mentioned, that actually benefit from the lack of music.
Yeah,
you know, but
for sure.
not all of them. Not all of them.
Yeah, and then a criticism I had of the movie when we watched it,
Mm-hmm.
I no longer have that criticism after reading a bit more of, I guess, what the vision was for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So one critique I had was that I think compared to Fury Road, Furiosa looks too clean, especially for like a post-apocalyptic wasteland movie. But I was reading that apparently the reason why this movie looks a bit cleaner than, Fury Road does is because it's a way of showing that when the movie takes place is that it's at the height of Immortan Joe's power.
Right.
So, like things when they first build the war rig, right? The war rig is silver and shiny compared to
And
like
chrome.
the piece of shit.
Yeah.
Compared to like the piece of shit that's in
That's
Fury
got
Road.
the
That's all
saws
dirty
all
and
up on
shit.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's taken a beating in Fury Road, but then in this one it's brand new, so it's very shiny, very chrome, and so that's kind of what the whole style of the movie is. It's why it looks a lot cleaner, and so I take that criticism back because it seems to be intentional of just like it looks a lot cleaner and a lot smoother.
Yeah, I come on say I saw that criticism and I didn't initially agree with it because I wanted to think about it more and I wanted to rewatch the film. But you're right, with that context, it makes a lot more sense for everything to look cleaner, to look more pristine.
Yeah.
It's because this isn't 20, 30 years in the future or however long, 10 years, however long in the future. This is prime Immortan Joe. Like everyone's alive, everyone's thriving. That's what that is.
Yeah.
And Dementis was kind of the beginning of the end. Even though it's a long ass end, it's still the beginning of the end. So
yeah, and I think really why I had that criticism is because I watched the two back to back, and so it's really noticeable the two different styles that each movie's going for.
Very much so.
And so it feels weird, going from like you watch Fury Road and immediately after watch Furiosa, it's like, okay, whoa, this looks different.
Maybe the lack of music is meant to complement Fury Road in more of a way, because Fury Road is kind of like the unfurling of everyone's psyche. Everyone's gone a lot madder. So maybe that's what he was
like
trying
what I
to
said
go for.
when we were walking out of.
What's up?
Yeah. It's like I said when we were walking out of the theater. Furiosa's like Act 1 and 2, and Fury Road's the big Action 3.
Yeah,
the big third act set piece.
It's just a massive fucking. It's a massive part 2. You know what I mean? That's all it is.
Exactly. It's just when you really look at it with both movies together, Fury Road is just the final battle.
Yeah, it really
but the whole movie. But the whole movie's the final
and
battle.
you gotta love it. You gotta love it, right? But the thing is, it makes the story beats in Fury Road stronger. Like I said,
for sure. Yeah.
The moment when Furiosa realizes the green place is lost is now. It used to just be really good. Now it's peak. It's literally one of the best moments in cinema history. With the context of Furiosa, it's damn good. Oh my god.
I was reading a review also yesterday that it wasn't really a negative review, but this guy didn't really like Furiosa and he was just kind of explaining why. And I don't agree with his review. Yeah, I don't agree with his review, but I respect it. He really talked a lot about how, when you watch Fury Road, there's obviously a lot of hints towards like the relationships and the history and kind of the world, the context of the world that, all these characters kind of have. It's all alluded to and they don't really talk about it. They don't really go into detail. So you kind of fill those parts with your imagination. And so one of the things they didn't really like about Furiosa for them personally was that it explains a lot of that history and context. Whereas in Fury Road, it's, just kind of left to the imagination. And so he kind of didn't like how everything was explained. He kind of liked that ambiguity that kind of surrounded everything.
That's fair.
Especially if you're looking at it from Max's perspective, because he's just kind of thrown in, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't know who these people are, so it
world.
Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, it makes sense for us not to know everything. So that was a criticism I saw that I don't really agree with, but I respect it a lot because I understand it.
Well, because
it
that's
makes
part
a lot
of
of
the,
sense.
that's part of the appeal of like horror films, like Alien, for example. You don't know what the alien is. You don't know what the alien's capable of. You barely even know what it looks like. You know, and so that makes the fear a lot stronger because of it. And it could be the same for storytelling. Most of the time, what you can cook up in your own head is better than what you see on screen.
Exactly.
I think it's an exception for George Miller, though. Because George Miller's mind is fucking paragons above everyone else. I don't understand him. I really don't. Like, for example, how do you name somebody Scrotus? All right? I don't get it. And he's actually
Scrotus
a good character. And yeah, exactly. And Rectus. And Rectus is a fucking badass with an MG42 with 200 rounds. You know what I mean? It's wild. Like, how is he a badass, yet he's called Rectus? I don't get it. How do you get a bank teller who's meant to be like an accountant who has nipple clamps? Like, how do you make that character? I don't, you know? So, once again, it's just George Miller can think of crazier shit than I can. So I think it's an exception for him. I really do. You know?
Yeah, it's just an imagination.
It's wild, dude. I mean, for example, remember that character who ran the Bullet Farm? That whole sequence with him, you know what I mean? In Fury Road. Gun fever! Like, are you kidding me? Where does this come from? I don't, you know what? Fair.
Just the image of a blindfolded old man shooting fucking 2 MP5s is insane.
And he's wrecking house. He's blowing people up and shit. Gun fever! Like, oh, man. It's wild. So, like, that's my thing. I understand his criticism, and you know what? That's fair. The fact that he watched
fair criticism.
He watched it and judged it on his own merits. When I see stuff like that, I applaud you. Even if I don't agree with you, brother, you're doing it right. You understand? Those criticisms, you're doing it right. And I can tolerate those criticisms all day. In fact, I enjoy those criticisms because it expands my knowledge of film a bit. Because usually when people are trying to go against the grain, they tend to do more research. You know what I mean? So it comes off as more intelligent. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, it's so much better than when someone's like, oh, it's shit. Why? It's just shit.
I didn't like it.
Like,
yeah.
That's like, explain. Like, what didn't you like about it?
He comes off as an intellectual. Even if I don't agree with him, he comes off as somebody who has something to say. So good for that guy. I'm serious. Yeah, you know what?
I retweeted his review.
Right. He's good. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. You do not have to love this movie. If you watch it, you dislike it. That's fair. But you have to watch it. you have to understand why you don't like it. You know. And then, you know what? Okay, so let me give you the final rating of the film before we get into the criticisms. This film was a damn fine watch from front to back. I think it's probably the best, if not at least top 3 of the films of the year. It's definitely contender. It's in the conversation. Furiosa, top tier cinema, and you know, man, I was thinking an 8 when I came out of the theater, to be modest, but now with the context and the conversation and how much I really loved it, and me rewatching, rewatching Furiosa again, I'm looking at an extremely high 9. I'm serious.
It was a 9 for me when I first watched it. On rewatch, it was still a 9. So,
it's a 9.
Yeah.
It's damn good. So I can say without a shadow of a doubt, we did not touch on every single point of the film. Great visuals, great cinematography, but just go watch it. And you have to watch it because the way that it's going right now, that film is going to die. The film's not going to make enough money. Unfortunately, even this video won't change that. But I did my part. This movie's amazing. Go watch it.
I'm curious for anyone that watched Furiosa before Fury Road. Let me know how you felt because watching it in that order is kind of weird. So it's like I'm curious as to know if your perspective's a little different on the movie. It's like watching Better Call Saul before Breaking Bad. You know, I can't. Me personally, I can't do it. I have to watch release order.
Release order, right. But that is an interesting perspective. If you have that perspective, please leave it down in the comments. That sounds primo. Indeed. So, when it comes to the criticism surrounding Furiosa, we have a few intellectuals like Martin Kessler, who he made an actual critique of watching the film, and his criticisms are valid. I may not agree with them, Squito may not agree with them, but they're valid. But then you get to the dumb ones.
There's always dumb ones. No matter what the movie is, there's always dumb one. It could be Best Picture Oscar winner, and someone's going to be like, it's not that good, actually. It's always going to be that one fucking guy.
For example, I've seen criticism. I've seen comments on Furiosa saying, "Oh, Furiosa's not really that good of a character. Furiosa stole screen time away from Mad Max in Fury Road."
No.
No, I disagree. Let me tell you why. One of the main reasons for me is that Fury Road is a good. Furiosa is a good character by herself. She carries the film really well. She's really good in this film. But you can also see it in Mad Max Fury Road that she's not this Mary Sue that the consumers are usually conditioned to. I understand where they're coming from. There's been a lot of films with female leads that are basically just replacements, like Indiana Jones 5 or the Star Wars trilogy. You see a lot of that where the female character is not really in depth. She doesn't really go through a lot of struggles. She's just good. That's it, you know? Furiosa does not suffer from that at all. What do you think she's a Mary Sue in any way, Squeedo Talk? What's up?
No. Because I mean, you clearly see it in this movie. She earned her way to getting the name. Like, she has a presence.
She lost an arm.
She lost a motherfucking arm.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, Furiosa is really just all about how her reputation came to be. And, you know, you really feel it when, I don't remember who says it, but when they look at her driving away, and it's like, oh, she's the fifth horseman of the apocalypse. It's like, god damn, yeah, you're right.
Bad bitch.
After what I just saw throughout this movie, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, she's a menace.
But that's my thing, is that she's not like a lot of these Mary Sue characters who didn't struggle, who didn't earn their place, that have their quirks and their weaknesses. Furiosa has all of that. Furiosa is a well-written character. And then people say criticisms like this. They're just following, George Miller's just following the trend of female leads and political empowerment. Dude, he wrote the Furiosa script before Fury Road ever came out. So what's going on? What's your criticism again? Repeat that? You know? It doesn't make sense, okay? Furiosa was written before Fury Road, and Fury Road was made with Furiosa's lore in mind, okay? Now, for people who think that she stole screen time away from Mad Max and Mad Max wasn't given enough screen time, I always think of that one scene where Mad Max is faced with a badass motherfucker with 2 submachine guns in his hands and two of his lackeys shooting grenade launchers. And
I was just thinking of this scene.
And Tom Hardy's like, hey guys, okay, I need you guys to take the war rig half a click up the track. I'm gonna go deal with them. But what if you don't come back, Tom Hardy? Well, then you keep moving. And so they keep moving.
Yeah.
And Tom Hardy goes towards that massive war vehicle on foot. He walks over to him, and then you don't even see the action. You just see the explosions in the distance with mad music in the background. And then he comes out of the smoke, covered in somebody else's blood, with ammo wrapped around his neck and shoulders. And he's holding a wheel for the war rig in his right hand and a boot for Nux in the left hand. Do you really need more screen time? Really? Do you really need more screen time than that?
Not only that, the scene, or like the little moment between Furiosa and Max before that, when they see the vehicle coming towards them, and then Max, he's like aiming down the sight with the sniper, and Furiosa, she's just gonna watch him take the shot, but then he realizes she's standing behind him, and then he's just like, yeah, all right, and he just like gives her the gun because it was established early in the movie that's like, yeah, she's a better shot.
She's a better shot, which isn't taking away from Max, because then Max has that crazy-ass action scene. It's just that certain characters have weaknesses in some ways, and Furiosa's strength is not the physical combat, because Max beat her in that, but in the long-distance game, which you see more of in Furiosa, you know? So,
yeah.
I mean,
it's like...
Go ahead.
Saying that Furiosa took away from Max's screen time is a dumb criticism.
It's a joke.
And so I think of, like, you know, I'm gonna use Cowboy Bebop as an example. Those of you that have seen the show kind of know what I'm gonna be going with here. It's a very episodic show, right? Every episode's a new story, and each story has kind of their own side characters. And there's an episode named Waltz for Venus in the show, and it starts with Faye and Spike, but they're not really the focus. It's about this new character who we've never seen before, and a lot of the episodes surround that one new side character, but really that character is just there to be an audience surrogate, I guess, for this current story.
Mm-hmm.
But Spike is still the main character, you know? He's still the main character. It's just now that there's a new side character helping him with his journey in this specific episode.
God forbid there's a co-star.
It's kind of how it is with Mad Max Fury Road. You just kind of get dropped into this story out of fucking nowhere. You know, there's not really much context as to what's happening before all the action starts going. And so we're following Max. And of course, in his journey, he's going to get help from some other characters. That other character happening to be Furiosa. She's helping him in the story. She's not taking away from his screen time. She's just another character that happens to be in that same story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I 100% agree.
She's a side character.
She's a side character.
She's a main character, but she's a side character,
right.
too.
Okay,
yeah.
so she's a co-host. You know what I mean? She's a co-star. There's two main characters in Mad Max Fury Road, and that's Furiosa and that's Max, okay? And they both have their arcs.
There's two of them on the poster.
Right, and they both have their arcs. People like to think that just because a woman shared... we don't even have to say a woman, because even though that's what they're trying to imply, we don't even have to say a woman. Another person is sharing screen time with Mad Max and is kind of holding the mantle with him in this film. And they act like there aren't 3 other films with Max in it. You know what I mean? Where Max is the main character. You know what I mean? I understand that. And
I'm sure those other 3 movies probably have side characters of their own that we haven't seen.
Right. But it's a problem for Furiosa because they don't want to get invested in her, even though she's a really cool character who holds her own, who fights Mad Max one-on-one and loses. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. She loses. She doesn't win and beat his ass. They're pretty equally matched until Max gets the best of her, you know? So once again, it showed that Max is a bad motherfucker. Max is a guy who can survive anything, but Imperator Furiosa is fueled by rage. Furiosa is a bad bitch, and so they're on equal footing. You understand? I don't know why that's so hard for people to understand. Furiosa doesn't steal the story away from Max, because Max has an arc in this film. In the beginning, he's like, no, I don't want to help anybody. Fuck you. I don't want to, until eventually he's forced into it, because the wasteland is real limited, and there's only these few locations, so he's going to have to follow through and find the green place with her, because he has no other option. You know, he wounded one of Immortan Joe's wives. You know, like, he has no other option except to help them. And then by the end of the film, instead of splitting, he's like, you know what? I do want to help you. We need to go back to the Citadel to find some sort of redemption. You know, like, when I hear lines like that, I see those character moments. I see the badass action that both characters are a part of. I mean, Mad Max fought the motherfucker who was playing the guitar. How are you not? How is he not having better screen time? How is he not having adequate amount of screen time? It doesn't make sense to me. How is this not a Mad Max film? I've heard criticisms.
I thought of a...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I thought of a simpler way to explain this. Furiosa is like a companion that follows you for this one specific quest line in like a 100-hour RPG game.
That's it!
That's what she is. She's the companion for this specific quest. Fury Road is one quest out of many, and Furiosa is helping him on this quest.
But people find her existence as an insult. Oh, you're taking screen time away from Max. Really? That's it? Y'all aren't looking at the story that's being presented, and you're not consuming it. You're avoiding it, and you only want to hear Max's side. Furiosa is a well-written character who is a badass, all right, but you don't want to ingest her character because you have already watched these 3 other films and you only want to watch Fury Road for Max. Except Fury Road is one of the best action films, and in my personal favorite, best action film ever made, and you only want to enjoy half of it? It doesn't make sense.
If Furiosa's taking away from Max's screen time, then also Immortan Joe would be taking away from his screen time.
So would Rictus. So would Nut. Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. Can Max not have a co-star? It makes no sense to me. And so I don't want to say it's because she's a woman. I don't want to say that because there are actual people who just think they wanted more Mad Max and didn't really care about Furiosa. And that's fair. But there's definitely some of those individuals in those comment sections. I'm just being honest. So, but that being said, I don't see that criticism that she's taken away from Mad Max. She never took away from Mad Max. In fact, she complimented Mad Max. You can say that one sniper scene, maybe, but I think that's a really limited way of seeing it. I think that was a scene of Mad Max being like, I don't have to do everything. ego. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He gave it
And
up. So it made
And
sense.
Furiosa's really the emotional core of the story as well. Because
she
again,
really is.
like we talked about, Max doesn't really have a stake in the context of what's happening.
Because he's crazy.
Just there.
Yeah, he's just there.
Yeah, he's just there. Yeah, like he just happened to show up and like, what the fuck is happening?
The thing is, right? We're talking from a perspective of we've never seen the original films, and I'm sure the original films are great. And me personally, I'm sure that the Mad Max films, when I watch them, which will be very soon, I'm sure that I will enjoy every single one of them. They're gonna have their flaws and they're gonna have their strengths, and I'm gonna enjoy every single film. And I have it already on Blu-ray, and I'm gonna think of them as good collections, good additions to my collection. But one, it's not going to be Fury Road. I don't care. There's no way it's going to be Fury Road. But that's not what I'm going to watch it for. I think they're going to be good. But also, I'm going to think, wow, these films were great. Fury Road complements these films really well. George Miller hasn't lost a step. I think that's a pretty lukewarm fucking take. But then you have these people that are like, oh, there are only 3 Mad Max films. Excuse me?
I can't imagine sitting in a theater watching a movie like Fury Road, as good as it is, and then
thinking,
being like, women, I want to see men.
Girls, I want to see men. No, the thing is, right, is that if you truly, I'm sorry, but if you truly think that arguably the best film in your entire collection of films doesn't belong in the collection because it didn't show the main character as much, and that's your sole reason, I don't know, dog. I don't know, dog. Let me add this to you really quick. I can't think of a better film to add to your collection. You could say there's 4 Mad Max films, and that's fair. Because, maybe Furiosa is not your cup of tea, or it's not even about Mad Max. But 3? You really don't want to add one of the best fucking films of our time. You really don't want to add that to your collection. You want to just stick to the originals, fuck a new edition, it's woke, it's political. Really? One of the best action films ever made, and you're not even close to hesitant, you just don't want it to be part of your collection? That goes to show your psyche at the moment. That goes to show your level of IQ. It's ridiculous. I can't imagine.
If you hate Furiosa for taking away screen time, but you like Donnie Yen in John Wick Chapter 4, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
Because they both kind of serve the same narrative purpose.
Exactly. It doesn't make sense. You act like you don't have 3 other films to watch. You act like the other Mad Max films don't exist. They're badass films that star Mad Max, and Fury Road tried to do something different. Something that it excelled at. And yet you reject it because it's different.
Seems to happen a lot, huh?
Yeah. People don't want to judge a film based on the film's merits. They want to judge a film based on their predetermined agendas. And one of the biggest agendas that's being pushed by Hollywood right now is the empowered female taking over everything with little to no struggle. The thing is, I understand where the audience is coming from on this. I really do, because they've seen a lot of those films. And tell me what, a lot of those films exist, and they're pretty ass. But Furiosa's not one of them. Not even close. Furiosa shows a badass main protagonist with a badass antagonist who they both have really good arcs, really good story, really good characters, really good everything. Just a really good story crafted by George Miller, who's made the story before any of that shit was actually happening. And people, those criticisms, those things that I just said will fall on deaf ears. They don't care. This awesome film that should be experienced by anybody who loves the Mad Max universe, they won't watch Furiosa because they think it follows the same political shit that Hollywood has been trying to pull for the longest time now. The thing is, it doesn't. It just doesn't. But they'll never know that because they're never going to give it a chance. That's it. That's all I have to say. You?
Yeah. It's just fucking dumb. that's all it is, bro.
It's
people
tragic.
On the internet are just
It's
fucking
tragic.
stupid. Yeah.
Plenty of people that I know would love to watch this film if it came out 20 years ago. That's it.
Yeah.
And the fact that this movie's gonna bomb along with Fall Guy, which I hear was a pretty fucking badass and fun action movie, it's tragic.
It's a goofy, fun time.
It's tragic that these films that are trying to do something different, that are labors of love, they're gonna bomb horrendously, record-breakingly. That's a word.
Yeah.
How? Not because of the quality of the films, but the current state of Hollywood. And the thing is, right, is I talked all that shit about people who don't want to see Furiosa. The thing is, I don't blame them too much. I blame Hollywood. I blame the bullshit that Hollywood's been trying to cook up for the longest time. If your film doesn't have Marvel on the fucking stamp, it's not rubber stamped by Marvel or a superhero, guess what? It ain't making money unless it was only on $1 million budget. That's it. It's
a Marvel stamp or a Disney seal of approval for people who want to be like, oh, I should go to theaters and watch it.
It's so fucking ridiculous. The thought of movie theaters is dying. And it's horrible because I go to theaters, like I went to watch Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Peak! I love watching that shit on a big IMAX screen. It was an awesome experience that I got to share with Squeedo. And I'm so scared that those experiences are going to go away in a couple decades. People don't want to go out to the theaters anymore. They just, I'll just wait for streaming. Dude, these films are meant to be played on the massive silver screen. But people don't care anymore. And people say, oh, life's hard. Ticket prices are so high. Dude, there's so many screenshots over on Twitter or X, however you call it, where it's like, dude, they got sales. They got monthly subscriptions. You could go and watch these films and enjoy them, but you choose not to, and you wait for streaming because it's easier. It's easier. It's more convenient. But, bro, you as people who enjoy film, I'm not talking about everyday schmoes. People who enjoy film, you need to go out and see it in the theaters. You just have to.
Yeah.
That's it. So
Deadpool and Wolverine is breaking pre-sale
already
records, and no one's going to see Furiosa. It's honestly pretty sad.
It's really sad because Furiosa is a damn fine film, and for me personally, I don't see anything beating it this year. I'm watching everything with a critical eye, but I don't think anything's gonna beat it for me this year. I think Deadpool and Wolverine probably has the biggest hope. But you see, that's the thing. That's the only one. Furiosa for me, if it's not first place, it's second. And that's a big fucking accomplishment. So...
And, I saw a post this morning that actually made me think, all these movies are bombing left and right in the box office. If Deadpool and Wolverine flops, what happens?
Cinema's dead. It won't, though. It'll make money.
Yeah. But that's something to think about. Because it is potential. Like, the potential is there for it to happen, but it's not going to.
Right. No, because it's more marketable than some R-rated films. But
yeah.
The thing is that I understand that Furiosa is a niche genre or whatever, but guys, Fury Road enjoyers, y'all gotta get out there. You know what I mean? Y'all gotta talk about Furiosa. Furiosa is a special film that's only going to be recognized a decade from now. So, it is what it is. And one other thing I want to mention before we cap it off. For people who think that Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, implies that Mad Max is going to be the main character in the film, you're a fucking idiot. No, okay. I shouldn't call you an idiot. My apologies. Let me break it down for you. When I think Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, I'm thinking, okay, this movie stars Furiosa, and it's within the Mad Max universe. Not that Furiosa's in this film, but Mad Max is gonna be in it. And that's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's a movie about Furiosa within the Mad Max universe. That's what I'm thinking. I think it's pretty obvious too. But people see Mad Max and they jump to it. Oh, look, they're misadvertising. They're trying to get people into seats because of Mad Max, but because they know no one likes Furiosa. That's stupid. That's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. No, that's not what it is at all. They're just saying, hey, it's in the Mad Max universe. That's it. That's all it's saying.
Guys, he's lying to you. Mad Max is the main character, and this movie has just as much action as Fury Road. Go see it.
Yeah, you're right. My bad. No, you're right. No, because that'll get more asses in seats. You're right.
Yeah.
No, actually, guys, Mel Gibson makes a return. Yeah, and then he says anti-Semitic slurs near the end of the film. He becomes the next Hitler. It's great.
Yeah, it's so good. Go
It's
watch
great.
It's better than Fury Road. Go see it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Never say that shit again on my podcast, you fucking snake. Right? No fucking...
Just wait for the Kraven the Hunter review.
No.
Or Venom 3.
Oh, fuck me. Jesus Christ. No, Kraven's gonna be Furiosa, let's be honest. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sake. Anything else you have to say about Furiosa?
Nah, just a great movie.
Damn fine film that should be watched by anybody.
I'll probably watch it again.
Yeah, I know I'm going to. I think it's a damn fine film that should be watched by anyone who likes action, great character building, great visual imagery, and just wants to see a crazy motherfucker who spent, I don't know, half a decade working on a film. That's
And
it.
Anya Taylor-Joy's hot, so...
Hey, there you go! Yeah, hey, if you don't even like movies, but you like hot women, Anya Taylor-Joy, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Why did we offer her up like that? I'm sorry, Anya. I didn't mean it.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, man. All right, that's it. Watch the fucking movie. Stop listening to us talk. Jesus. So what's the next point here?
King of the Ring.
To be honest, I don't even have much to say about that.
Good. That's it. That's all I got. It was good.
Yeah, King of the Ring was it was fine. I enjoyed some of the matches. I really liked Randy Orton versus Gunther. I liked the controversy that is like, oh, his shoulders up. Oh my god.
Yeah. I like that they acknowledged it.
Yeah, of course, because it was obvious. They had to. Yeah.
If it was the Vince McMahon era, they wouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because they could spin it easy. It's just like, yeah, I cheated you. Fuck you. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I don't really have anything else to say about King of the Ring.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan winning makes a lot of sense. And for those who thought Becky Lynch winning was a bad decision, well, you know, I hate to say we told you so, but, you know, we told you so. One thing I did want to mention is the whole little, like, listen, I don't really like talking too much about religion or politics, so I'm just going to make this quick, all right? The whole thing about, like, female performers have to be fully covered. It's a law over in that city or town or country, whatever it is. Is that, like, a law in all of Saudi Arabia or just that part?
I think so. I think it's all of Saudi Arabia.
I'm going to say it's that part to give them the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? Kind of dumb. You know what I'm just saying? Kind of dumb. It's a little silly, in my opinion. That being said, it's their religion. They get to do whatever they want. At the end of the day, WWE's just taking all that Saudi money. You know what I mean? As long as no one's forced to perform, I'm 100% okay with them performing in that area and respecting their culture. It is what it is. I think that specific thing is a little silly, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna cramp on their style. I'm not gonna cramp on their religion just because I disagree with this one little thing. But I do disagree with it. It is what it is. Anything else? King of the Ring wise. Logan Paul losing is an obvious fuck. Imagine Logan Paul winning 2 championships. I couldn't do it.
That would have been crazy.
I would have stopped watching. No.
That would have been wild.
Logan Paul winning the championship after losing to Roman Reigns is wild. Oh, dude. LA Knight needs to take that belt. That's the truth. Fuck it on.
Yup, SummerSlam. Make it happen, please.
Damn straight.
Please.
Nia Jax versus that one girl that looked like JoJo Siwa.
Lyra Valkyria.
Yeah, her. She did look like JoJo Siwa, though. Dude. I'm not lying. Bro, I swear to God. Karma's a bitch. You know what I mean? Fuck it on. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have. Fair?
Yeah. It was fun.
It wasn't bad.
It's crazy. It's just after WrestleMania. With WWE, it's like we're watching it, but we don't really got much to talk about. It's just, good.
It was okay. Yeah,
things are happening.
Because we're a little WWE'd out. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I'm sure that it'll ramp up soon. But I'm trying to do other things on the channel.
Next thing you know, Roman Reigns comes back, and that's all we're talking about.
Yeah, right? No. That's probably what's gonna happen too, bro. Yikes.
And it's crazy because like I'm the kind of person where it's just like, WWE doesn't need Roman Reigns to be as good as they are. But now that Roman's gone, I'm like, I kind of miss Roman Reigns.
Well, that's normal. Post-Roman syndrome.
Post-Roman syndrome. Bring him back.
Bring him back.